What up, dudes? It's Gaz, and welcome back to another Warframe video. So we got another episode of This Week in Warframe. We're going the entire weekly reset. And yeah, we got some really good Incarnons this week, and Lavos Prime just came out. 2 weeks from now, Belly of the Beast will be done, and also we'll have the new dev stream. But yeah, we still got those events going strong this week. If you enjoy these types of videos, weekly video, reset videos, all that stuff, make sure you sub this channel. We do daily Warframe video uploads. Alright, your first weekly reset item at Testion is going to be a rifle rivet mod for 75 steel essence. As far as, new infested Lich rifles and stuff like that, there's going to be some new Scaldra rifles, but for the infested Lich, it will be a new shotgun weapon, and also a pistol and hammer, too. You also got your Kuva and relics down here. You can still get Lavos relics from this pack. Alright, so yeah, beyond that, again, you do have, limited time on the Belly of the Beast. It's 14 days, 18 hours as of right now, so, still plenty of time to grab the stuff and grind it out, but it is also, potential hours of grinding to get those items. So, you judge if you're going to be able to get them or if it's worth your time, as it is the returning Arcanes like Energize, Aegis, Avenger, etc., etc. Also at the same time, too, the Arcanes are relatively cheap plat price-wise, so if you don't have the time to grind it, maybe get them for cheaper plat prices than they'd be later. Moving on to the Dorma Zone here, just a heads up, yeah, there are some really good Incarnons this week, so if you want to farm Pathos clamps, get ready, because there's... I know I have to. I want to get all the variants of some of the Incarnons, so I'll be grinding out some of the Incarnons this week, just like you guys, even though I have a lot of them already. We got a pretty good Dorma Zone store this week. We've got a Companion Rivet mod for 20 Pathos. I only got 28 Pathos, yikes. 5k Kuva for 10 Pathos. A Rifle Rivet mod for 15 Pathos. Forma Blueprint for 10, and a Primary Arcane Adapter. So yeah, Companion Ribbons, pretty decent. They get like a Verglass Ribbon, Rifle Ribbons. There's lots of good things, but yeah, not as many new infested Lich weapons. Yeah, not everybody really knows that, but yeah, we're getting like 13 new Lich weapons in the March update. We're getting like 5 new Scaldra weapons too, but no Scaldra rocket launcher. We are getting a Scaldra grenade launcher though. Speaking of Scaldra and Tech Rot, let's take a look at that calendar buff as far as what we're going to get as far as calendar loot as well. Okay, first challenge, get 150 ability kills, and you get a guaranteed red shard. I need that. I'm definitely taking that. That's actually the only choice. I think they actually left the other choice blank because you should definitely take this red shard and not these 2 arcanes that are basically worth like 3 plat each. So yeah, take that, please. Next, you're going to get one of your buff choices. You've got Broaden Horizons, giving increased ability range after picking up an orb. No Quarter, giving melee attack speed. Or Heavy Mags, giving increased magazine size for your weapons. Up to you which one you want to run. I'm going to probably go with Heavy Mags to have more Acarius ammo size for using my rocket launcher pistols in these missions. But the other ones are good too. Next, get 10 Eximus kills, and you can choose between a Forma Blueprint or 1 singular Arcane from the tile set. After that, get 150 Scaldra kills with weapons, and you can get a Auric and Catalyst Blueprint, which is about 20 plat value, or 2 Arcanes, which are, if you still need them, of course, you could pick it, but I'd recommend the Auric and Catalyst Blueprint. Then also get, after that, you get 200 Tech Rot melee kills, and you get another buff. Looks like a new buff, potentially. Actually, no, I think I've seen that one before. Okay, well, first up, we got Heavy Javelin. Heavy melee attacks trigger radial javelin with a 3-meter range and a 1,000 damage scaling with combo multiplier. I have made a video on this buff before. I do not like it. I would not recommend it. It does not work on certain types of heavy attacks. But if you do want to try it, feel free. It does a decent amount of range, but it's all slash damage too. On Involuntary Transfusion, weak point kills have a 25% chance to generate a universal orb. That seems pretty good, so maybe think about that one. And the last one, Have a Blast. Every 10th shot adds 10 blast stacks on hit. I believe this does work with multi-shot from shotguns to get lots of blast stacks. Alright, you got Amir's Birthday. And then after that, you get to choose a... Oh! Whoa! A fully built Aura Forma. Wait, what? Fully built Aura Forma. These are becoming Omni Forma in March. Is this a typo? That's an insanely good loot choice right there. Over the Exos Warframe Adapter. So yeah, if you didn't know this, in March, these will become Omni Forma, and it will take like 4 Forma to build this, and it can become a nearly universal polarity on your frame. So this is fully built. This is basically like an 80 plat item right here in the market. So definitely pick this up. An extremely, extremely good item in this calendar buff this week. So you got a red shard guaranteed and this guaranteed this week. That's really nice. So great stuff on there. Moving on afterwards, break 300 containers, and you'll get the choice of 2 arcanes or 200 Phosphor. The 200 Phosphor is more Phosphor than these 2 arcanes would give you. And as far as the final challenge, kill 500 Tech Rot, and your final loot will be a Riven or a singular arcane. Very, very nice calendar loot this week, honestly. And for your final perks, keep in mind, these might technically be available, or they might technically be active during the Infested Lich launch week, but they also might not. If the Infested Liches come out the first week of March, these will be active. If they don't, it will be not active. There'll be new buffs. Ball and Lightning, a very powerful buff, adds status damage and electricity to all weapons. Toxic Shot, add 25% gas status chance to primary and secondary weapons, and Got Your Back, increasing Spectre and companion damage by 250%. I would say that Bottled Lightning is definitely the easiest one to notice working, but Toxic Shot sounds pretty decent, as does Got Your Back, just buffing your companions and Spectres. So yeah, really, really good, really good calendar buffs this week and calendar loot. So great stuff there. Let's go ahead and take a look at the EDA. Okay, so as far as EDA, this is going to be requiring rank 5 with a Kavia Syndicate to grind these every week, and also get an extra shard from Bird 3. This is going to be the best location to get Tau shards in the entire game. Multiple chances to get Tau shards. You can get, like, I think the most I've gotten is 5 Tau shards from this, but that might have been actually the Netro Cells and the EDA. Okay, so looks like we also have a really good Stella farm this week too, potentially. Okay, so yeah, for your EDA, we've got Alchemy, Exterminate, and Assassination. The boss fight has returned to the disapproval of some players. As far as your modifiers for Alchemy, everyone's favorite, Hazardous Goods. Amphors will inflict their associated damage while you hold the grenades. So if you're holding a toxic grenade, it will toxin proc you. Be careful about that. There's also Vampiric Luminous, making it even worse. Those little vampire clouds will chase you around and damage you and drain your energy and health. But thankfully, Bold Venture is a free modifier. Enemies deal less damage and take increased damage, but also have increased movement, attack speed, and fire rate. Pretty annoying Luminous and Toxin proc grenades, but it shouldn't be that bad. Second modifier, or second mission, basically a free mission, you got Exterminate. Necromech Influx. Necromech enemies appear with greater frequency. Second modifier, Hostile Generation enemies slowly regenerate their health. And also, Guardian Eximus will appear, including Guardian Eximus mechs. So there should be some pretty tanky enemies in this Exterminate. As far as the final boss fight, let's see if we have the modifier to farm Stella this week. Actually, it looks like we don't have the modifier. It's supposed to be the Relentless Tide modifier for Stella farm. We got different modifiers this week. And those modifiers are as follows. Coordinated Front. In this boss fight, Eximus units will support the Fragmented Tide in its final form. So there'll be lots of Eximus, anatomizers and like the hollow veins and stuff like that. So keep that in mind that there will be a lot of Eximus there, so silence might be helpful. Additionally, Entanglement. Allies within 4 meters of slight enemy have reduced movement and parkour, and also Rupturing Fragments will appear to replace the Shuffling Fragments. So whenever those crawling hand enemies are on the map of this mission, they'll explode and do a lot of damage, so be careful about that. And as far as your personal modifiers, you can choose to use these or not. We've got Knife Step Syndrome will be constantly taking damage while moving. Jumping will pause the effect. Frame Curse Syndrome. Did we have these two? I think we had these 2 modifiers right here for like the last month. Activate ability will inflict 50 damage upon you. Not that big of a deal. Powerless might be a big deal to you. All abilities are disabled until your squad gets 50 kills. So if you use a crew member, it will get those 50 kills for you pretty easily. And then the last one, Secondary Wounds. Gain 1 puncture status effect every time you take damage. So yeah, not too bad of an EDA with those modifiers. They could definitely have been much worse in the final mission. And yeah, there's an Exterminate, so that's always free. As far as Bird 3's weekly shard, got a yellow shard from Bird 3 for 30,000 reputation. That shard and that mission we just talked about requires rank 5 with this place, so get grinding if you don't have it already. You'll get lots of shards over time. But yeah, we got some really, really good Incarnons to talk about this week. Some of our Incarnons that will have new build videos this week too, for some extremely high-level content and gameplay. But for your Archon Hunt, we've got the Wolf Archon returning with the red Archon shards, and the mission types will be Mobile Defense, Interception, and the final boss. I know a lot of players have been annoyed. There's been a bunch of spy missions for Archon Hunt recently, and it looks like that has been changed this week to not be the case. So, yeah. Moving on to the circuit. Let's see what normal circuit stuff we've got. Looks like we've got Mesa, Chroma, and Atlas. So Mesa comes from Infested Alavi boss fights, and their Helminth ability is Shooting Gallery, a very good Helminth ability. Stuns enemies and buffs your damage. We've got Chroma coming from a quest, and the second time they get Chroma, you'd have to get them from Samaris, I believe. This is going to require the parts of Chroma to be built by using Volt parts, Ember parts, and I want to say Saren parts too. Maybe even a Frost part. So yeah, and their Helminth ability is going to be Elemental Ward, which give a variety of different buffs. And Atlas comes from the J3 Golem fight on Eris, and their Helminth ability is Petrify, which can increase enemies' reduce their damage vulnerability, and then also give you extra loot with the augment mod. As far as which one you should get, I'd say probably go for Mesa here. Mesa has the best Helminth of the bunch here, and also to farm Mesa, you need to get the infested hollow keys, or not infested hollow keys, the infested Allen V coordinates to do the key farm of this mission. That being said, it's not that bad, so if you don't want to do more Samaris stuff for Chroma's Blueprint, you can also pick him as well. But I'd say out of these choices, I go for normal Mesa here. Not that hard to farm. Chroma's a little bit harder to farm, but also you don't really need Chroma's Helminth that badly, so yeah. As far as the Incarnon for the Steel Path, we've got extremely powerful week. But just a reminder, if you don't play in a while, you can grab Kuva or Riven instead of Incarnon if you prefer that. But yeah, I'll be grabbing some of these this week to get some variants to test out for future videos. But we've got the Bow Prime Incarnon, or the Bow Incarnon, which could work on the Bow Prime or Mark 1 bow. We've got the Latron Incarnon. We've got the Furis Incarnon, the Furex Incarnon, and the Strun Incarnon. Some of these are honestly some of the best guns in the whole game. So you have your work cut out for you as far as which one you want to pick. I'll try to make it the best informed decision I can when we discuss these. Starting off the Bow Incarnon. This thing is going to get increased range when it's an Incarnon form with a 6x multiplier and a heavy attack. And it also is going to be really, really good for melee influence, because melee influence, whenever you proc an electric status effect, it will spread the proc at an 18 meter. So with this thing, when you Incarnon it up, it gets 4x. So we're talking like a 30 meter range, basically, on the electric procs, if you really, really measure how far it goes. A 13 meter bow hit with the melee, and an 18 meter extension of the electric procs after that. It's a very, very far AoE melee. That being said, one of the functions of this weapon was technically a stat stick to some players, and stat sticks are being removed in March. But that shouldn't hold you back from at least trying this thing out if you want to have a very long-range electric melee. Some of the perks on here give a ton of status chance. It can be very, very good for spreading electric procs. If you want to get this thing, I'd recommend getting a Riven mod with minus impact damage, as this thing is mainly impact damage, and you do not spread impact procs with melee influence. You only spread elemental procs like electric. So a good choice, but it's not one of the meta guns of the game like some of these other choices. So going to be lower on the recommendation list this week. Very high on the recommendations list this week is going to be the Latron Incarnon. This thing is very hard-hitting, and the Latron itself is a normally semi-auto weapon, but with the feature that DE added last year, there is a way to make all weapons, almost all weapons, full auto with the semi-rifle, or the semi-weapons become full auto setting in Warframe. So this thing is now full auto with that setting, and it makes this thing a lot easier to use. The Incarnon form of the Latron Incarnon, after getting some headshots, releases bouncing fireballs that deal lots and lots of damage. The perks on the Incarnon of the Latron are even stronger, with perks like Riddled Target giving increased multi-shot for doing a puncture status effect, which is built-in multi-shot, pretty strong. We've also got one right here giving built-in armor removal from puncture procs. And you can also just use Critical Parallel for a massive crit chance and crit damage upgrade. It is one of the strongest guns in the game, and it has some armor strip abilities that not many other frames can do, because puncture procs removing armor is also a permanent armor strip too. So very, very powerful gun here, especially if you have that special setting turned on. Now, as far as me this week, I will be grabbing this one because I want to show the Latron Wraith and the Latron Prime in a video, because I don't actually have the Latron Wraith Incarnon. I'm not going to say it's going to be a soon video, but yeah, the Latron Prime is very, very good. I just want to give the other one a shot too. It has lower stats in lots of areas. Now, how could I make it sound better than that? Well, right here, say hello to the Furis Incarnon. The Furis Incarnon is going to be, I use it on the Furis normal, but as far as what it does, it becomes a jet engine basically after some headshots. Tons of fire procs. I'll have a new video on this thing maybe on Tuesday or Wednesday with a build video, and it will kill max level enemies in one tick of damage. And not to mention too, that's on a DOT focused build. So they're dying in one hit of damage at max level, and then afterwards there's a multi-million damage heat proc as well. So really strong, and again, that is a weapon that has no prime version. It's only a normal Furis. So yeah, tons of power here, tons of good perks. Storm Burst, when you hit an enemy affected by electric procs, you get increased multi-shot. So if you're a Wisp player, your shock motes will shock the enemy. Then you shoot with this thing, it gets a bunch of extra multi-shot. It's really, really strong. So, yeah, arguably the #1 pistol in all of Warframe as far as damage. It does have some issues, I'd say, in the range department as far as how far you can hit enemies away with this thing. Unlike the Dual Toxis, which would be another arguable best pistol in the game, this thing has limited range. So, yeah, but yeah, it's really good if you are in that range. So I'd highly recommend this as #1 or #2 this week. And as far as the furis Incarnon, we did do a little bit of discussion today, and I'm going to probably put this one at the bottom of the list, underneath the bow Incarnon, sadly. But yeah, as far as what this one does, after you get your melee stacked up into a heavy slam or a heavy attack, you can actually get some not very powerful special abilities, but it does at least sound cool. The heavy slams will leave behind a fire trail that also increases heavy slam efficiency. So the heavy slam efficiency is the good part. The fire trail is the bad part. The fire from this thing deals like not even any damage at all, in my opinion, like 100 damage. But the actual slams get so much slam efficiency, you can slam them over and over again, and it will not drain your combo. So that's good. But beyond that, the Furis is used mainly as a stat stick buffer for Mesa, where you have the Amalgam Furis body count mod, which gives your secondaries increased fire rate. So on Mesa, it gives you more fire rate on Mesa. That's what you do with this thing mainly, and slam attack. So that being said, there are lots of better slam attack weapons. This thing is a very strong fist weapon for like punching enemies, but yeah, it's more of just a for fun thing in a Mesa stat stick. And for that Mesa stat stick build, you do not need the Incarnon. So it is the lowest recommendation this week. Although I still like it, it's still strong. It is the lowest as far as these items are concerned. And the Strun Incarnon, an extremely powerful shotgun Incarnon. The Incarnon form of the Strun turns this pellet-based shotgun into a rocket launcher that has a ton of heat damage on it. If you get a minus impact ribbon, this thing becomes like only blasted heat, I believe it is, on the Incarnon shot, which is very, very powerful. And some of these Incarnon perks give it huge status chance bumps, like this one, Elemental Balance. Increases the base status chance by plus 132% for the Incarnon form. So if you throw in some status chance on the top of that, you're looking at hundreds of percent of status chance on the rocket launcher, which is really good. You can even go for a crit build if you wanted to, but yeah, I mainly recommend a status build because the status build is so extremely powerful on this thing to stack up DOTs, fully armor strip enemy in one shot, you name it, it can do a lot of procs for it. So I'd recommend that one, but it is also, to me, this is a personal preference. It is underneath the Latron to me, but at the same time, you want a shotgun or a rifle, basically. So after all that said and done, what are the best recommendations this week as the best Incarnons for you to grab? #1, the Furis Incarnon. Look out for a build video on it this week. It is extremely powerful for taking out the Steel Path, and relatively easily, too, for that. Afterwards, it will be your choice between the Latron Incarnon, the Latron Prime, or the Strun Incarnon on the Strun Prime. They're both really good. They could both serve a similar purpose, but to me, I prefer the Latron Prime more because it's just more fun to me, honestly. Not to say I don't have fun with the Strun, but I find that I personally prefer the Boar Incarnon over the Strun Incarnon. They're both, fire-focused Incarnons. This one's a rocket launcher. The Boar is a beam. So, yeah, you can't go wrong with either of these three choices. And let's say you have all three of the guns. You have the Strun, you have the Furis, you have the Latron. What should you go after that? You should go for the Bow afterwards for a long-range melee Incarnon. And the Furis will be last place, unfortunately, because the Incarnon form is not very good. And what it is used for does not really need an Incarnon most of the time. So, yeah, hopefully that was helpful to you guys. Let's go over the Nightwave challenges. Because, yeah, I'm probably going to get that new Vesper augment tonight. And we'll have a video on that tomorrow. All right, see what we got going on. So as far as the first weekly, feed the Helminth any resource. Easy enough. Next challenge, complete 3 different bounties in the Orb Valis on Venus. First Elite Weekly, complete 4 Halls of Ascension on Lua. Not a ton of explanation on that one, huh? You have to go find these hidden rooms on Lua, and they're special like puzzle rooms. You'll get special mods from the drift mods, and I'd recommend going to find the easier ones like the stealth drift. But you basically just run through a Lua mission, and you'll know them when you see them because actually you might not know them when you see them. I'd recommend looking like a guide for that one, honestly. So just run through. If you see a puzzle room like this, hopefully you can figure it out. And then the last Elite Weekly here, kill a Tusk Thumper Doma in the Plains of Eidolon. Reminder, Steel Path does work on this, so you can maybe make it normal path, make it a little bit easier to kill. And as far as the Permanent weeklies, kill 30 Eximus, complete 15 missions, and kill 500 enemies. And your daily is complete a mission. As far as your Nightwave store here, let's see what we got. Alright, evergreen stuff at the top. Got some Solstice skins with the dual carries and the lens. That's always nice. If you see anything here that you like, go ahead and grab it. As far as aura mods, you've got Holster Amp, which is good. Infest Impotence, which is not as good. Sprint Boost, which is okay. Enemy Radar and Rejuvenation, which are both usable for sure. Then as far as the augment mods, you got Critical Precision for the Tiburon and Napalm Grenades for the Penta. For Mastery Fund, you got the Ceramic Dagger Blueprint. Reminder, Stat 6 are being removed from Warframe in March, so only use the Ceramic Dagger as a normal weapon going forward. You also got the Pangolin Sword. And some other Conclave mods out here like Purifying Flames, Recharge Barrier, Brainstorm, and Shrapnel Rounds. And that's going to be basically your weekly reset, guys. A ton of weeklies in Warframe nowadays, and a ton of things to consider with those Incarnons. It's nice to be a Warframe player nowadays, compared to like back in the day where there was nothing to do on a weekly basis. You are loaded up with weeklies as far as Warframe is concerned in 2025. And we'll be probably getting more when the Infest Lich update comes out too, so keep your eyes out for that one. So a little bit of fun back here with the invigorations for the week. These are random per player per week, so just because I have Mesa, Chroma, Banshee doesn't mean that you have Mesa, Chroma, and Banshee as well. So let's see what we got. First one, for Mesa, increased melee damage and increased reload speed. Two useless things for Mesa. Yikes. Next one, for Chroma, ability efficiency and primary damage. Not exactly the most useful things for Chroma either. And for the last one, we got melee crit chance and jump resets for Banshee. These are some of the worst invigorations I've ever gotten. Okay, so maybe the Chroma won't be pretty good, but these other two, yikes. Either way, guys, I'll see you in the next video. Be a video on the Vesper augment tomorrow. Come on, stop at the live stream if you want to grind this stuff out with me, and I'll see you very soon. Thanks for the support. Peace.